What's going on, everyone? So today we are going to be checking out a new fairway driver coming for the Streamline lineup. This is the brand new Turbulence. So this was teased a few weeks back in one of Simon's tour vlogs. Many people immediately screenshotted, froze the frame, as you can see here, of Simon holding up the disc with the flight numbers being 7203.5. Aside from this being a very overstable fairway driver, what immediately popped out was that 2 as a glide. 7203.5. I've never seen a super non-glidey fairway that was overstable or anything that read a 7.2. So it's very interesting and unique. Many people were contemplating or speculating maybe this was just like a trolling play to hype up this disc for this release, or maybe it actually is a 7.2. And indeed, this is the brand new stock stamp Turbulence that you can see reads a 7203.5. So today we're going to get out in the field, throw this up against a couple different discs I have here. The first one being, it's an R2 Fireball. This is a very overstable fairway here. We're also going to be throwing it up against this Jawbreaker Z Flex Captain's Raptor, which this is a 9.3 +1.4, very overstable fairway driver, as well as a Discmania FD3. It's a metal flake. This is my disc, or that slot in my bag, that is quite an overstable fairway driver. So we're gonna throw these, see if there's really a difference in terms of the glide and the distance, while throwing pretty comparable in terms of power and release angle to each other. And we'll see if this really is. So what makes it the 7.2, you may ask, is going to be what's considered anti-doming. So if you can see here, it's probably not going to be the best angle. I'll try to get you guys a better angle, but pretty much just like what you would know as the range or the Berg, that type of a disc, where pretty much the shoulder of a disc just drops down and in. That creates the properties of anti-dome or anti-glide, that where it's just going to drop out of the air. If you've thrown a Berg or a range, it's the perfect example of what an anti-dome type of a disc would be. It's not going to be really like a thumb track as you would get out of like a Zone GT here, where you can see, based on the light here, this is actually a thumb track. I threw this for a while. I love the hand feel. It was an awesome disc. But instead, this more is going to pop down slightly below the shoulder and just flatten out across and not come back up to what that specific mold may be. But in terms of feel, right off the bat, it does feel very, very comfortable. It's not as much of an anti-dome as the range, but it is considerable amount of that anti-dome that you would feel right off the bat. Feels very good in your hands, whether it's on forehand or on backhand, depending on how you throw the disc. But to me, it really feels nice and comfortable already. Okay, very overstable for sure. Did release that on a little bit more hyzer, but that's okay. We have the R2 Fireball. Try to do it just like that Turbulence. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we have the Metal Flake FD3. And if I do end up like chopping stuff up for videoing, I don't really think I have to, because these are literally throw after throw in this 5-disc sequence. MD3 throwing very nice. That one may be the furthest. We have the Jawbreaker Z Flex cap wrap. Nice. Now we're throwing a lot better, warmed up. That was a great flight. And now the mid-range reference for the deflector. Oh yeah. That thing gets out more than you think it would. But don't get it wrong, it is a beefy, beefy mid-range. I brought my phone out there, just to show, especially with those being like my best feeling throws and best executed throws so far. I brought my phone out there because I am very surprised. These are throwing, as you can see, I'm gonna put this up on the screen right now. You can see that the turbulence was a little more off to the left, but in terms of distance, it was pretty much right there with the FD3, the Fireball, and the cap wrap, within probably 5 to 10 feet, which I don't think is really that much at all, because again, we're not robots here. We're not going to throw the disc on top of each other every single throw. So very surprising about this anti-dome, non-gliding of a disc. But yeah, let's throw it again. We'll do one more of this type of a throw, especially since I'm feeling good right now. So let's do it again with the Neutron Turbulence. Okay, nice. Now we have the R2 Fireball. Oh yeah, that was good. Okay. Metal Flake FD3. Yeah, these are all very similar flights, which is obviously good for comparison. We got the cap wrap. That is a cap wrap. Okay, now that last grouping of throws, pretty much the FD3, Fireball, and Raptor were pretty much within a couple feet of each other. The Turbulence was probably like 10 feet closer, but I'm not really convinced from these throws that this doesn't really have much glide to it, especially a 2 glide. Now, we did throw a handful of those stockish type releases. Now I'm going to, let's just do one grouping of throws where I'm just gonna do almost like not like a crazy spiking hyzer, but I'm just gonna push it out more on hyzer, relatively the same each throw, just to see where we end up. Because this is definitely surprising. Okay, we got the Turbulence. Oh yeah, yeah, that's like a spiking hyzer. Boom, okay. Now we have the Fireball. I'm gonna try to throw it just like that. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Little right of the Turbulence. Try it again with the Metal Flake FD3. Okay. It's probably almost right on top of the Fireball. And now we have the cap wrap. Coming back into frame. And wow, okay. So I can see from here, I'll go up obviously and check it, but all those, the Fireball, the cap wrap, and the FD3 have to be almost on top of each other. And then Turbulence may be a tiny bit short. And just for giggles, even though I stupidly threw this further on that last grouping, the deflector. Oh yeah. That's for sure shorter, but threw it the same. Let's go check them out. So as you can see from my picture with my phone, these were still relatively close to each other, really not that far out of line in terms of distance. And my throws had to be pretty decently executed because they were all close by. Now I'm just gonna send these on a little bit of a flex line, send it off a little ante and see how it fights back and also where it lands in terms of distance. We're not having a distance competition here. I'm not ripping the crap out of these discs just to get the furthest I can, just trying to throw them smooth and with roughly the same amount of power. So first off, we have the Turbulence. Ooh, look at that wind bounce. Okay. That was cool. Maybe not too viable with that wind bounce, but here's the R2 Fireball. Oh, wow. Very similar, actually. That got a wind bounce as well. We got the MD3. Those are pretty much staying in a nice line, just like doing their flex and doing their thing. Panning back out. Okay. And now we have the cap wrap. That one was pushed down to the ground. Anyway, that's okay. So in terms of that grouping, again, very consistent throughout this whole video. The Turbulence, Fireball, and FD3 are flying very, very close to each other. These were pretty much within like 2 to 3 feet max distance-wise, where the Turbulence was in the middle, Fireball like 5 to 6 feet on one side, and the FD3 another 5 to 6 feet on another side. Let's throw this little baby flex line one more time in this field, then we gotta get out of here because people are mowing. So here we go. Turbulence. Fights out. And pretty much in line to where my throwing is if you're looking into a straight line. We got this R2 Fireball. Send it on, very similar line. Yep, beautiful. Fights right out of that. That may be slightly further. We'll do a Metal Flake FD3 one last time. Yep, beautiful, beautiful, okay? And let's really throw this cap wrap better this time. Oh yeah, sit, okay? Let me go out, take a look at those. Okay, so as you can see in another picture that I took right after those throws, the cap wrap was the shortest one, which it should be based on the flight numbers and based on how overstable it is. And then the FD3 and the Turbulence were pretty much right next to each other within 3 feet, 2 feet. And then my finger was pointing to the Fireball. That got a little bit more push, but pretty much relatively, they're all right there within a 20-foot circle, 25 feet circle, which I would say is pretty good. Very surprising. Anyways, let's get off this field since they're mowing, and I don't want any of these discs getting destroyed underneath the mower. Let's move somewhere else, and we'll do a couple more throws and sum up the video. No way, dude. Oh, I thought that was in. So that's gonna do it for today's video. I was quite surprised, just going off of the flight numbers here. Again, 7.2 glide, 0, 3.5. I was really thinking that this Turbulence was going to want to get down to the ground quicker, not because of the overstability, but because of the anti-dome and less glide that I guess it should have. But as you guys have seen, and from what I've gathered through this video, really doesn't fly too much different. instabilities as well as glide, where we were throwing them in a couple different conditions. And I would say that obviously the turbulence in terms of stability and glide, a little bit more closer to the FD3 and the Fireball, as this cap wrap is quite a bit more overstable, but not by a ton, which is very surprising. So I'm just quite perplexed right now. Maybe I got, who knows, a factory freak, whereas like this one is more glidey than the others, but I don't think so, because these are like stock stamps. But who knows, maybe the stock stamp differs from the special edition stamp. If they were molded at slightly different times, who knows? There's a lot of science that goes into plastics, molding, what time you're doing, and so forth. I am no mold injection expert here, but what I've gathered, at least from today's video, is in terms of glide, it's not really that much different. However, I'm not hating on this turbulence by any means. I actually love the hand feel. Like I said in the beginning, the hand feel right out of the gate on forehands and backhands feels very, very comfortable in my hands, at least. I did think that this was just going to be a little bit faster flying to then get down to the ground quicker and be probably maybe like a in between like mid fairway semi-utility type disc, but come to find out, like I said, it is very close to my Fireball. I don't really throw this, but I just had it for comparison. But more importantly, my Metal Flake FD3. This has been my workhorse of an overstable fairway driver. And who knows, like I said, there's no hate at all on the turbulence. It's just not what I would say is a 2 glide. I would honestly say, if I was to number this myself, not being a professional flight number here, I would say that this would be like a 7.403. Or a 7.3.5, like MVP likes to do those 0.5s. So then a 7.3.503 or 0.3.5. Very similar and close to that Fireball, just with that little bit of anti-dome, which creates not a thumb track, but a really nice positioning and feel for your thumb on the disc, which I really enjoy. So no hate, again, on the turbulence. I actually may be throwing this a little bit more just to mess around with it. It is very interesting. And because it is flying very similarly to my FD3, I'm going to put this alongside it right now in my bag, mess around with it a little more, because who knows, maybe I add this to my bag, or maybe it completely kicks out my FD3, just based on that feel being very similar in flights. But I will definitely give it more of a chance. Very awesome disc. There's no hate. Said that 13 times already, but I just don't want it to appear like I'm hating on this turbulence, because that's not what it is at all. It's just not a anti-glide-ish fairway that I would have expected. But love it. I'm going to try it out a lot more, and it may make the bag. So if you guys are looking for a workhorse overstable fairway driver that feels amazing in the hands, that you're not going to get that feel out of most fairway drivers because they're not anti-domed like that, then I would definitely check out this turbulence here. You can stop over to deliciousdiscs.com, pick yourself up either a stock stamp or a special edition stamp, all different types of colors. You also can get all their discs and pretty much all your disc off needs from deliciousdiscs.com. And you can also use my code NOHASSLE10 to save yourself 10% off of your entire order. Appreciate you guys for checking out this little turbulence review here. If you've gotten your hands on this yet, definitely let me know down in the comments section what you think, if it was less glidey maybe for you. Last thing before I forget, a lot of people have been asking me throughout my past couple videos, pretty much like metrics on my throwing. I throw around 60-ish miles per hour with about 1150 RPMs, and my distance drivers I throw on like good days like 420. So it's not like I can't throw a 9-speed farther than a 7-speed. It was just literally, this does have quite the glide to it, just like these other discs. So those are just some quick little metrics on my throwing, as people are always curious for comparisons on their arm speeds or whatnot. So those are my metrics right there. But turbulence, again, awesome disc, awesome feel, and it's just that very reliable overstable workhorse of a fairway driver. Very controllable as well, even though it is quite overstable, but it is that nice, reliable fairway driver that you may be looking for that specific, wonderful hand feel. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you're excited to pick up one of these and get your hands on one of these new turbulences. Definitely recommend checking them out. Hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.